Good afternoon, Stitchers. Today I'm going to show you how to make the new In the Hoop puffy mouse ears. What we want to do, the first thing you want to do is print out the template for our foam pieces. This is how it originally came and looked. You only need one. I did cut out both because I was using scraps of foam that I had lying around, and I used both to make sure that I was able to get the most out of that piece of scrap that I had. If you are able to print directly onto some sort of cardstock, I printed it on 110-pound index. You want something that's heavy enough that you could use to trace around. If not, print it directly onto regular paper and then use that and trace that onto something heavier like cardboard, whether it be, a postal mailer or something you have lying around. You want something that, you'll be able to use over and over again. So these are for your foam. Now, we use 2mm craft foam. If you can find a 4mm, then you only need 2. One for each ear. Since I was unable to find 4mm, I went and used the 2mm I had. But then you need 2 for each ear. So I've already cut out the 4 pieces that I need. Again, it was scrap. Colors don't matter. You're not going to see it. So anything you have lying around, that works great. Then the other foam that you need is flex foam. You can buy this at Joann's. It's on the bolt. You can buy it by the yard, or they do have these handy little packets. This one is something that I've had lying around for years. You don't need fusible. This just happens to be what I had. We're not going to fuse anything. So, all you just need is the flex foam itself. And again, you need 4, 2 for each ear. So those are cut out, ready to go. For the puffy ears, you want to use some type of knit fabric. I'm using Cotton Lycra. I've already fussy cut so that I know that my princesses are going to be close to the way I want them. You want 4 pieces, of course, back and front. So I've pre-cut mine for the sake of this video. And then, of course, we need a headband. You want either a 1/2 inch or 15mm. This one I got from Cat at Crafty Cat Supplies. This is the 15mm satin covered. They are available in different colors. I put this on the other day just to see how it felt. And it's very comfortable. It does not have the pressure points the way some of the larger bands have. I put it on, and actually I forgot it was on my head after a couple minutes and realized about 3 hours later that I was still wearing it. So it's that comfortable. If you don't want those, or you have some 1/2 inch that you're able to get, this was a white plastic 1/2 inch I got off of Amazon. I covered it with matching fabric. And then I put a velvet ribbon inside so that it wouldn't slip. So that's another option. And then, of course, we need glue. I like to use Fabri-Tac down here in Florida. It does take 24 hours to cure, but it has a quick bond. So, I like to use this because then I know it's not going to melt in the hot. I know it's gonna hold really well. If you can use hot glue. If you want to use hot glue, Carrie recommends the Gorilla Glue hot glue. Again, for the Florida sun, she said that is the type you want to use to ensure that your ears don't melt at Disney World. All right, so those are our supplies. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch one ear. We're going to go ahead and do I use medium weight tearaway. And so let me go ahead and move you over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'm using a medium weight tearaway. Whenever I stitch an outline, I do not put thread in there because I always find that the thread doesn't hold for some reason, whether it just be my specific machine. Actually, no, I used to do this with my single needle as well. So yeah, I just always punch directly onto the paper. It gives me my outline, but I don't have to worry about the thread not holding or showing up. All right, so I like to use 505 spray. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to put my first ear down. We're not using the foam yet. Right now we are just stitching the ears. All right, so let me get her positioned where I want her. 1 second. All right. All right, so here she is. And you can see, if I turn her around to the back, you can see how she shows up there. And I know how she's going to fit in the hoop. Sorry, the camera moved for a minute. There we go. Okay. Real simple. All right, so then, excuse me 1 second, reset my machine. All right. It's gonna do a tack down. You can skip that step if you want, if you just want to go directly to your back. But I do like to have it to make sure that my image is right where I want it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew the back to the front. So that is ear number 1. Okay, so we've done the first ear. Now let me show you. Oh, and of course I forgot one other supply we need is some Poly-fil. Not a lot, but we do need a little bit of Poly-fil. All right, so we want to go ahead and tear off the tearaway. Otherwise, it will interfere with the puffiness we want. Okay. Inside here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it out of all the seams. All right. So yeah, so before we flip it, let's go ahead and give it a little clip. Be careful, you don't want to cut your seam. You could use pinking shears if you like. I sometimes have trouble, I think I need some new pinking shears, cutting the cotton lycra cleanly. I just find it as easy just to go around. This will give you a smoother curve. Sorry about that. Whoa. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and flip it. I like to run along the seam with my finger, get a nice good crease in there. All right, here is my front. Now, the nice thing that I've done here is I've actually made a two-sided ear. You can put a plain back if you like. I've made it so that you can do it two-sided, and the bow, we're going to use a cam snap when we put the puffy bow on, so the bow can be changed, the bow can be reversed if you want to wear this side of the ears. It's just a fun way to do them. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want 2 pieces of the craft foam, and we want to glue it together. Again, you can use hot glue. I like my Fabri-Tac. It will glue foam. And you're just going to glue those 2 pieces together. And again, if you can find 4mm, you can skip that step by having just 1 piece of craft foam in the middle. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for a minute and dry, and while that's drying, we'll go ahead and do the other pair. Hot glue would dry right away. This will take just a couple minutes, not a big deal. All right. Get out of my way. They don't have to be perfect. Okay. And there's the other one drying. All right. Still a little wet. So what we're going to do, once you have a nice center, so we're going to put this piece of foam in there, in the middle, and we're going to let it dry for a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, my glue is dry now, or dry enough. So what I'm going to do is I need to insert this into the ear we just made. The easiest way I found with this foam, so just kind of fold it up into thirds. We're going to take that, we're going to put it into here. And then once she's in there, you're going to open it up. Likes to stick to the cotton, to the Lycra. There we go. And then using your finger, just go ahead and smooth it all around. If you want, you can take the extra time to try to get the seam on one side or the other, or split it down the middle, or but once you get some stuffing in there, it's really not going to show all that much. All right. So that'll help the body of your ear. Okay. Now we take the flex foam, 1 for each side. And I found with this, and maybe it's just because I have the adhesive type, but I found with this that it's easier if you fold it into thirds this way. Again, now we're going to put it in on top of the craft foam we just put in there. Then open up one side, open up the other side, and there's a little tiny bit of padding on there now. Turn it over to the other side and repeat. So we're going to fold this half like so. And put that in on top of your craft foam again. So you should have now the 2 layers of craft foam in the middle and a piece of flex foam on top and bottom. Move it around, do whatever you need to do, make it look smooth. All right, now you could, if you like that thickness, that density, you could leave it and have a slightly puffy ear. Doesn't look bad. But if you want to go and make it puffy, then we need to go ahead and we're going to put some Poly-fil on the top of the front and on the top of the back. Well, let me go grab my Poly-fil. Now, I have found with the Poly-fil, I personally don't like a real lot in there, but we need a little bit just to kind of define the shape of the ear. So you put in as much or as little as you like, and you make it your own custom ear. Again, now we're going on top of the flex foam we just put in there. This is all based on your preference. Okay, now I'm going to put some on the other side. Again, this is all your preference. You don't have to if you don't want to. This is how it would look right now. Move my light a little bit here. There we go. Okay. I put a little bit again. You want to go on top of the flex foam you just put in there. As much or as little as you like. In fact, I'm going to take just a little bit out of the front here, so she's not quite so full. Move it around, get it how you like it. Once you're happy with how puffy it is, then we're going to close it up. I have a little bit of a line of the flex foam showing, so I'm pushing a little bit of that Poly-fil to hide that. There we go. Took out too much. Okay. So once you have that, the fullness that you like, we're going to go ahead and close it up. Again, I like to use the Fabri-Tac, but you can use hot glue if you prefer. And what I like to do is I like to put the glue between, I want to glue this shut so that the Poly-fil stays in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put a bead of glue, open it up. I'm going to put it on my foam. And then I'm going to take this first piece and I'm going to push that in between the foam pieces like so, which will then seal up that first side. So basically I've glued the fabric to the craft foam. And then I will repeat it over on this side. Get that Poly-fil out of my way. put a bead of glue along this edge. It's a little much. Then I'm going to fold this under. That was not a good job I just did. Hold on. Okay. And then, once I get that tucked in like that, then I'm going to run one more bead of glue right on top of my craft foam. And then I like to hold this shut. Now, again, hot glue, real fast. For me, I can either sit here and hold it for a minute or two, or I can clip it. And usually I like to use some sewing clips. Oh, they're up here now. I'm gonna stick a couple sewing clips just until my Fabri-Tac dries for a minute. And there we go. While that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll stitch out the other ear. I'll see you back here when the second ear is done. Okay, so now I've got the second ear stitched. I've gone ahead and I've clipped my seam. I am going to go ahead and turn it again. Smooth out the seam with my finger. Like so. Alright, so since I've already glued this together, it's nice and dry. So let's go ahead and put this in there. Sometimes it twists on you, just twist it back where it needs to go. There we go. Okay. Flex foam is next. Gonna fold it in thirds like this. Oh, I see I'm a little crooked. Hold on one second here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm too far the other way. Alright, so we're going to put the flex foam in. Open it up. Again, I like to smooth out that seam. Do the same thing on the back side. On top of your craft foam. Smooth it out. There you go. Same thing as your other ear. Now with this one, you want to try to make it so the puffiness matches your first ear. So let's go ahead. I like to break up my polyfil. It makes it less clumpy. Let's put some on top. Again, you're going on top of the flex foam. Stuff it down in there real well. seem to have a hole right in the middle. Okay, reverse it and do the back side. A little bit fuller than my first. I'm going to take out a little bit, try to redistribute that cotton poly-fil. There. Look pretty even. All right, so now, same thing as before. I'm going to open this up just right there. Come on, baby. Gonna put a little bead of glue. This has a tendency to ooze out real fast. Little bead of glue right in here. It's always more than I want. Okay, push that down in there. Just hides the raw edges. Make sure that the polyfoam isn't gonna, where it would go, but isn't gonna move. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same with the back. Get all that foam out of my way.
It's 5:34. Good evening.
Thank you, Minnie. Gotta start thinking about dinner soon. All right, let's see. So we're gonna put a little bead in here. Okay. Fold this under there. Like so. Again, you're not gonna see it. All right, and then lastly, I'm gonna close that off. Little bead of glue up here. Now the first one should be dry now. So I am going to do this here. All right, and let that dry for a minute, like so. All right, so to go ahead and attach the ear to the headband, I am gonna go ahead and use hot glue. We want to position it about 10 o'clock. Remember, when you, it might not look correct when you first put them on, but remember when you stretch out your headband, it's going to draw those ears closer together. If you put them, you know, further down here, you're going to have Princess Leia buns. If you put them further up to the top, when you open them up, they're going to be touching. So you want to have it, I like to go around 10 o'clock. Just to say about here. To help this, you can use anything that's round and puffy to kind of open up your headband a little bit. This will hold it for you. Make sure you're centered, and you know, it helps. It just opens it up a little. You can, like I said, you can use this Quaker Oats roll, something that is that's going to open up that headband a little bit for you. So I mean, if you don't, that's fine. Just remember, you want to go approximately here so that when it opens up. Right. Oh, I have a 3M industrial glue. This stuff will burn you. All right, hold that for just a minute. Get a nice good seal on there. This is what I'm using is a high temp. All right. So once that is set, then we can go ahead and do the other ear. I like to cut off any stray polyfill that may have squeezed out. All right. I like to push that down just a little where my glue. There we go. Okay. So again, now we want to match on the opposite side. I left a little slight hole here. Oopsie. Well, it's not going to show. Okay, so then if you look at this, you want to get it relatively in the same position. So now we want it around 2 o'clock. Push that on there, get a nice good seal. Hold it for a minute while it dries. I love these princesses, they're so pretty. All right. Once you're happy with your placement, got a slight little piece right here I need to glue. Boop. Then comes the fun part of decorating them. This glue takes a little bit longer to dry. I've never used the Gorilla Glue, hot glue, so I'm not sure how long that takes. All right. And there you go. Open up. Now they seem a little flimsy, don't worry. Once you get them all decorated and everything, they're on there and they're not going anywhere. They just wobble a little at first. All right, so then I bought some pretty trim. I was thinking of, since both Ariel and Rapunzel love purple, I was thinking of some pretty purple roses. I got this at Joann's. So I am going to put this, and if you look on my backside, remember I said they're double-sided. So I'm going to put this, hate hot glue strings, whee! All right, and I'm gonna put a little bead of hot glue. Again, make sure you're using a hot glue that can withstand the Florida temperature. I'm gonna put a little bead there, and a little rose there. I'm gonna wrap it and repeat on the back side. Look at that, worked out perfectly, right in the middle of a rose. You can embellish, oops, you can embellish them with beads, all sorts of things. There's one. What do you think? And then we'll do the other with Ariel. I like to start at the bottom when I do this. Just a little bead. This is 1 inch if you like this. These little flowers. It's in the trim section that is by the yard. Sold by the yard. Put a little bead around that. And this was 1 yard I bought because I knew wrapping it around I would need. Wasn't sure exactly how much, but I figured a yard would get me what I needed. Embellish as much or as little as you like. Voila. Needs a little bedazzling right in the middle. There we go. And then there's a puffy bow. It's made just like all of the other, all of Carrie's other puffy bows. I'm going to show you here. So you sew, same way we did the ear. You'll sew your you'll sew your tack down or your placement. Put down your top piece, sew your tack down. Put down your bottom piece, right sides together. It'll stitch around 3 sides, leaving, or 3.5 sides, leaving an opening. You trim it, turn it at that opening. I like to stuff just a little so it's kind of floopy. I take one of those goody hair bands and I stick it right in the middle. That's it. And then you stitch the tie. I put matching cam snaps on it because then it's removable. And when you go like this, and there we go. There is a set of puffy eared in the hoop mouse ears. Doesn't look too bad from the back. Or if you said, you know what, I'm tired of that look, I want to wear it this way, just flip your bow around. Or if you have a green bow, because that would look good with both of them too. I love green and purple together. And there you go. Can't wait to see what everyone does with your puffy mouse ears. I'll show you what it looks like on here. All spread out. There you go. Thank you for sewing with me today, for stitching with me.